Hello, my little grillerellas. I'm Carla Lalli, music, cookbook author, and hardcore Cypress Grove Humboldt Fog fan. I am here today in my backyard for a brand new recipe developed specifically for this cheese. Today I am making grilled pizza with bacon, mushrooms, and marinated Humboldt Fog. I have been eating this cheese for well over a decade and can tell you from experience it is delicious everywhere, anywhere, anytime. I even use it as a key component in my absolute dream salad. But today I want to show you how delicious it can be on pizza. Unlike mozzarella, Humboldt Fog has lots of other flavor components. It's tangy, it's herbaceous, it's got really great texture, and those qualities are going to make it a really interesting and beautiful contrast to the charred and very savory flavors of the rest of the toppings that I'm putting on the pizza. Find Humboldt Fog at your favorite grocer or specialty store. Details in the link below. I have this beautiful 3-pound wheel of Humboldt Fog, and the first thing that I want to do is slice it into wedges and get it marinating. One of my favorite things about Humboldt Fog is that cross section where you get all of the beautiful layers with the ash in between, and even though it won't be perfect in the end, I want to preserve as much of that visual payoff as I can. Another reason why this is going to be so fun in the finished pizza is that it is one cheese with multiple textures. I'm going to remove the rind because we don't want that chew, but on the pie you'll see the creamy layer, the paste, the ash layer. It's going to be easier to cut if I just remove the rind first. As I do that, I want to be careful to not cut off too much of this creamy layer. So I'm just going to cut the rind as close as I can to the top of the cheese. I've loved bloomy rind cheeses with an edible rind since I was a kid. So this to me is definitely one of those little chef's treats that I'm not going to throw away. So if you like nibbling on the rind like I do, just set these aside to keep you fueled. And then from here, I'm going to slice this into thin wedges. The more surface area there is on the cheese that I cut, the more that the marinade is going to get right in there. The cheese is definitely going to be easier to cut when it's cold, but when it's time to make the pie, we actually want it to warm up just a tiny bit at room temp. I always love in my recipes to find a way to use ingredients 2 ways. I'm going to thinly slice the greens. You don't have to be too precious or perfect about slicing these. A lot of them will drop off of the cheese after it's been marinated, but the ones that stick to the cheese are going to help flavor it. To this, I'm going to add some glugs of extra virgin olive oil, a little chili flake, which I also like as a topping at the end, salt and peps, of course. And I'm stirring the marinade ingredients aside separately from the cheese because I want to preserve the shape of the cheese. So now that the marinade is combined and everything is flavored here, I'm going to add the cheese and coat it. So I'm using this thin spatula to kind of help turn these over, coat them, get all the delicious stuff that's in the bottom of the pan over the cheese. It's going to soak up that olive oil. This already looks like something I absolutely want to eat. We're going to have to wait. Some scallion. Well, we've got the olive oil, salt and pepper already out. That's going to be my marinade for my scallions. The scallions as well can sit all day. You could marinate them a day in advance. They'll taste really great. I've got my grill set up now for 2-zone grilling, which has a hot side and a cold side. If you want to know exactly how to do this, you can pop over to my YouTube channel. I have a tutorial on it. With a cold cast iron skillet, I'm just going to place that over the heat, and the first thing I'm going to grill is the bacon. Bacon is super fun to grill on the grill grates, but you're going to get a lot of flare-ups, and because I want the bacon in lardone on top of the pizza, this is just a really easy way to cook bacon outdoors. Couple minutes in, we already have some nice fat rendering and some nice sizzling. The bacon itself is smoked, so it's going to have that smoky flavor going with all the grilled flavors. What I'm looking for at the end is bacon that has just started to take on some color, but is still chewy. I don't want to go all the way to like Bako Bits texture. Save these renderings because they're actually going to be our cooking medium for the mushrooms. So I'm just going to let my bacon hang out, and then mushrooms are going to go straight into this pan. So these are torn into clusters. They're going to shrink quite a bit, and you want to be able to see beautiful pieces of mushroom in the finished pie as well. So I didn't want to make them too small. So now that the mushrooms are in, I'm just going to turn them to coat. And mushrooms are like little sponges. So if you don't have a very fatty bacon, or for whatever reason, just supplement that with olive oil. Now that these are coated and seasoned, I'm just going to transfer them to the hot grill grates on the hot side of the grill. And now these little friends are going to be joined by the oiled up scallions. And if I were throwing a grilled pizza party and people were coming over, I would do all of this pre-grilling solo bolo before people come over. So then when your guests come over, you already have your charred and delicious mushrooms, you have your bacon, your scallions have been cooked, and your cheese is marinated. We're about 8 minutes on our mushrooms, 5 to 6 minutes on the scallions, and everybody is looking gorgeous and beautiful. I'm gonna pull these off. And then scallions, and they're a little bit floppy, but they're still really juicy. So the toppings are done. I'm gonna grab my dough and then pizza party. I have in front of me a batch of my droop-free pizza dough. There is no worry with this dough that it's going to hit the grill grates and like sag through and fall to the bottom. You can prepare the dough a day in advance, let it proof overnight in the fridge. You can shape it into balls, and then it can have another rest time before coming out to the grill. If the dough is snapping back on you and being difficult, then it probably just needs to rest a little bit longer. So we want to get it out to about 8 inches, which again, without a ruler, couldn't tell you. This is going to take maybe 2 minutes for the bottom of the dough to set. You're going to see really beautiful bubbles forming on the top side, while the bottom side that was oiled is down. I'm going to go ahead and make sure I get a little olive oil on this side for when it turns over. That was like 20 seconds, and I'm already seeing really nice bubbles forming. Nothing drooped. We have a beautiful plank of dough. About a minute in the thinner part of the dough, I can already see some browning showing through from the side that is making contact with the grill. And I'm just gonna peek under, looking for nice grill marks, nice golden brown. And this looks amazing. I'm gonna turn it over. It's nice and sturdy, it's crisp. This side is gonna stay down for the rest of the cook time. I wanna give it about 20 or 30 seconds over direct heat here for the dough to dry out and stiffen. That way when it goes over to the cool side, there's not dough sticking to the grill grates. And now this is like really great. You're in the safety zone, and that's why we do 2-zone grilling. First, I'm gonna put down my pepper puree. The red pepper puree, I love, and they don't have the acidity that tomato sauce does. So it's more sweet, which is a better complement to the tanginess of the cheese. Once you get familiar with this dough method, I would encourage you to think about all the different ways that maybe you've had Humboldt Fog on a cheese board and try to incorporate some of those flavors into the toppings for your pizza. Grilled pears, goat cheese, grilled red onion, that would be sick. Grilled figs, and maybe a really simple salsa that uses walnuts, because walnuts and goat cheese go so well together. So once you've made this one, you can really do this to pair Humboldt Fog with all of the things that you've had it with before. I've got my base layer, already some really beautiful colors, the beautiful marinated cheese. This I want to put on the top. I really want to show it off. I want to make sure that people can see it. I want to space it out so that it has this nice contrast with the ingredients underneath. I don't want to cover it up with anything. I want it to be kind of the crowning last step of this pie and really the first thing that you see. I'm going to drag the pie back over to the hot side, and it's going to be here for about 1 minute. This is another reason why using Humboldt Fog for grilled pizza is so perfect, because we don't actually want to cook the Humboldt Fog. It's when it is briefly warmed up and nice and soft that it really has the most amazing flavor and texture. Because this second step of the grilling of the pizza really only lasts a minute, they're kind of made for each other. It's the perfect technique that's gonna bring out the best qualities of the cheese. I'm seeing a little bit of steam coming up. This is when you take it off. And the last little touch I will give it is just a little drizzle of oil, an extra little bit of salt, a little bit of peps. So pretty. Oh my God. Once it's sat for a second, it's time to cut it into pieces. When I do grilled pizza parties like this on an afternoon, every time a pizza comes off the grill, we divide it up and everybody gets into it and then keep going. So we're always having a fresh, delicious pie. I just think it's a fun way to hang out. But since I'm the only person here, I'm gonna take this beautiful piece. I have the beautiful Humboldt Fog, which has gently melted over the mushroom that's underneath it, the pepper puree, the scallion, the bacon. Ooh, the New York fold. This is an amazing combo. I love it so much. I think it shows off the cheese in like the best possible light, where everybody is a supporting player that have earned their keep, but really we're just all here to uplift the cheese. Thank you so much to Humboldt Fog for inviting me to create this recipe for you. I'm really in love with this pizza and I'm going to be grilling it all summer, but not only that, this one is staying with me through the fall.